from My News 26 and CCTV. It's high school football, coming to you this season from schools throughout the region. This 26 Sports and CCTV high school football presentation is brought to you by Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you. And by Munson Healthcare Cadillac Rehab Services.
All right, welcome to the 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week between the Pine River Bucks and the McBain Ramblers. I'm Derek Tate alongside Dan Gussert as we are going to throw it over to the public address announcer here in just a moment for the national anthem.
Yeah, McBain's high school band's going to set that for us here tonight.
They did a fantastic job welcoming the players out onto the field earlier as we throw it over to the public address announcer now for the national anthem.
Will you please stand and sing with the McBain High School Marching Ramblers our national anthem?
Beautiful rendition of the national anthem from the McBain Marching Band, as well as the public address announcer.
Absolutely,
If you didn't catch the pipes there, I was just enjoying it myself. So
50th meeting between these two schools tonight.
Absolutely, and tonight, heading into this matchup, it is McBain that owns the plus-minus on the win record between the two squads, 30-19 against the Pine River Bucks. But Pine River comes into town with a 3-2 record despite coming off of a tough 31-12 loss at the hands of Beale City. And McBain snapped their two-game losing streak, two tough games in a row against Houghton Lake and Lake City, both one-score games, but they were able to bounce back against Everett.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, McBain traditionally, as the year progresses, seems to get better and better each week. And I know Coach Martin and the Bucks, that's been their MO the last few years also.
As you're looking at your screen right here, we see at the top of your screen, it's the Pine River Bucks starting to take their sideline on the top of your screen. Now at the bottom of your screen, with a tunnel of flag football players, young men and women down there giving them high fives. It's going to be the McBain Rambling offense. We're going to name some of the starters off. Number 73, Daniel Maloney, the big man, starting at center. Standing at guard, number 62, Lucas Skolton. And one of the strengths of this Rambler team is up front. And at the other guard, it's Brant Bonico. And we saw him. He plays both ways for the Ramblers. One of the tackle spots, Andrew Vanna. And at the other tackle spot, number 68, Caleb Outman. And wide receiver, number 12. This young man had a huge game against Lake City, and that's Ethan Barton. Starting at the other wide receiver spot, Joshua Hart Jr. Now, number 25, Owen Bonico, is the leading tackler for this Ramblers defense. Number 3, Gavin Seelan, one of the most dangerous weapons they have. Dan Rodenbaugh, the big man, handling a lot of the carrying duties. And that's number 34. And at number 24, the senior quarterback, George Brown III. And that's your starting offense for the McBain Ramblers.
Yeah, Brown and Seelan both saw a little action last year at quarterback due to some injuries with McBain. They're both solid, and it wouldn't surprise me at some point tonight to see Seelan step behind quarterback a little bit, injury or not.
Yeah, Sealand, we remember 2 seasons ago, back in the 2018 high school football season, it was against Lake City where they scored on the last play of the game, and he was actually under center, like you mentioned, couldn't quite convert on the 2-point conversion. They fell up just shy against the Lake City team, or the Lake City Trojans. They, again, came up very close to coming away with a win, but unfortunately, they got a clean slate tonight. They're trying to pick up their 3rd win in the Highland Conference.
Looks like Pine River's going to be set to receive here. Looks back deep. I think that's Nelson back there, Rogan Nelson, and probably Lane Rupert, 9 and number 12.
Number 9 and number 12, so it's Rogan Nelson, the sophomore. He's going to be taking snaps and potentially starting with the ball in his hands, receiving this opening kickoff from Brant Bonico.
And Rogan's been a little bit banged up this year, and I know the Hembolt kid has also played some quarterback for the Bucks so far this year. And that would be Taylor Hembolt.
It's a very nice luxury to have when you have a dependable backup option under center that can get you a couple snaps and complete some passes and move the chains. Not often you see a young man wearing number 74 kicking us off, but he'll get us started here at McBain High School for the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. Lane Rupert takes it at the 20-yard line, and he's going to be stacked up just past the 30, and that's where Rogan Nelson and the Bucks offense will get their first possession.
Number 22, Caden McGillis on that tackle, along with a few other Ramblers.
We'll see a lot of Caden McGillis over at the cornerback spot. We get a good look at this Bucks offense.
Pine River a little bit undersized on the offensive line. Like I said, they'll run a little more spread offense, and you can see that look right now here.
4 wide receivers working out of the shotgun on 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Man in motion. And triple option left. And the ball's on the ground and recovered by McBain. And a disastrous start for Pine River. Falling on it is number 25, Owen Bonico.
Good stick right in the middle. I didn't see who got helmet on ball there. Popped forward, and McBain gets a great break to start this game.
If you're head coach Pat Maloney of the McBain Ramblers, couldn't be any more pleased than an opening play turnover forced by your defense. And George Brown III with a 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. Give goes to Gavin Sealand. And Sealand inside the 30-yard line, weaving his way through traffic, brought down, 8-yard gain.
I think number 40, Sasha Huffman, with that tackle back there. You'll see a lot of Sasha on the ball. He's got a great nose for it.
We saw a lot of that T formation against Lake City a couple weeks ago. 2nd and 2 for McBain. Rodenbaugh on the carry. Straight ahead, he's going to get past the 25-yard line, and that'll move the sticks for McBain.
So McBain starts out with 2 runs kind of up the middle, using their strength of that offensive line for sure.
Trying to get behind the center, Daniel Maloney. Like you mentioned before, if you have the size advantage running right downhill, oftentimes you want to test that defensive front early. 1st and 10 out of the T formation for the Ramblers. Sealand. He's dropped.
That's Brock Nelson on that tackle right there. That's a fundamental tackle. He hit him low and wrapped well and just drove him back.
Solid contact there from Brock Nelson. Some early game introductions is like how I like to put it.
Yes.
Clean hit, gain of 1, 2nd and 9 for the Ramblers on the way. Gavin Sealand, we've already seen him with 2 carries on the first 3 plays. And they're staying out of a heavy formation. Pitch goes to Rodenbaugh around the right side, and he's going to be slung down and dropped by Rogan Nelson.
3-4 loss on that one. That was well read by Logan. He strung it out and was able to shut off his blocker and make the tackle. And even if he hadn't, he had done his job. The linebackers had filled behind.
When you set that edge and you make that running back give up ground, a lot of times that allows for the rest of the unit to fly to the ball, and Nelson drops him for a loss, so that's going to bring up 3rd and 13 here for the Ramblers. Brown, his first pass attempt. And that one hauled in by Sealand, a great grab, but he's still going to be dropped by Brock Nelson well shy of the 20-yard line. It's going to be 4th and long, a decision time for Coach Maloney.
Rupert went up for that, and unfortunately just wasn't quite tall enough to knock that out of there. He was in pretty good position.
And the Ramblers are going to go for it on 4th and 9. Brown rolling right. He's got a man in the flat, and that's hauled in. What a catch by Rodenbaugh. And he falls forward, and that's going to move the sticks. A one-handed grab. Ma, look what I found with one hand.
I tell you what, a little bit better throw on that, and he probably would have had another 5 or 10 yards on that, as he was kind of left alone back there. Got lost in that shuffle.
Yeah, they motioned to the trips. And they cleared it out with the flat route. That was way behind Rodenbaugh, but fantastic job hauling that one in. Gain of 10, first down, Ramblers. And it's going to be Brown on the quarterback keeper, straight ahead inside the 10-yard line, brought down just shy of the 5.
Gavin Cornett had him by the feet in the backfield there and just wasn't able to hold him down. Good, strong running right there for McBain.
George Brown III, a big senior quarterback, and when he gets a little bit of momentum heading downhill, he's a load to bring down. Gain of 7, that's going to bring up 2nd and 3 from the 6. And there's going to be a little bit of pre-snap movement. That's going to be a false start on McBain. Coach Maloney cannot be happy about that. That's going to make it a 2nd and a short 8 or a long 8.
You get down in that red zone, certainly inside the 10, you don't want to give back yards right there at this point in the ball game, or any point in the game for that matter.
Feels more impactful.
Yes, absolutely.
When it happens down here in the red zone. 2nd and 8 from the 10. Brown looking to throw into the end zone. Sealand, toe taps.
No catch.
They call him just out of bounds. Sealand almost hauled that one in.
Referee was right on the back line there, looking down there. It looked like he was in real good position to make that call.
George Brown III gave him a chance along the back side of that end zone line. And it looked like Sealand tried to toe tap in. They called him out. It's going to bring up 3rd and 8. And Pine River here caught a break with the pre-snap penalty, and they have a chance to force a 4th down. But they've got 3rd and 8 on the way. Motion, that's Rodenbaugh. Brown looking for Rodenbaugh. That one broken up. Good coverage from Rogan Nelson.
Rogan wasn't able to locate the ball, but had his hand up in the defender's face. Pine River came with a blitz, and McBain had to get rid of that real quick.
It was a little bit of a pick concept. They motioned Rodenbaugh down. They had Hart run a quick slant, and they tried to catch Rodenbaugh on the wheel route. It was still good switch and coverage there from Rogan Nelson. That's going to bring up 4th and 8 for the Ramblers. Sealand, jet sweep, and that's going to be stopped, and the Pine River defense is up to the challenge.
Lane Rupert held his position, makes a big tackle, and the Bucks are able to get away with an early game turnover. And, giving McBain a short field like that, they got to come away pretty happy right there.
McBain was able to convert on 1 4th and long, but the second one, the Bucks defense stands, and they get the ball back. Turnover on downs just under the 8-minute mark in the opening quarter. Still knotted up at 0-0 here at McBain High School for your 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. We get our second look at Rogan Nelson, the sophomore quarterback for Pine River. And it's a 1st and 10 at the 10-yard line. Nelson, option left, and there's a late pitch. That one to Gavin Cornett. And Cornett
picked up about 6 on that, I think.
A good pitch from the sophomore quarterback. They're trying to play a little bit of cat and mouse with that triple option to the left side. And
go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say the sophomore quarterback looks pretty good and pretty comfortable running that triple option.
I think that was number 7, Austin Ealing, with that tackle over there on the far sideline.
You got fantastic eyes. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing who it was, but it was Austin Ealing, the cornerback at the top of your screen. Gain of 6 brings up a long 4 on 2nd down for Pine River.
Rupert split far to this side on this possession. We'll see if they look for him here. I think McBain. Nope. We got Number 2 on the far side over there, Isaac McKinley jumped. Probably drawing a few of the Rambler offensive linemen off. I think this is going to be a Pine River penalty.
It is false start on Pine River, and that'll back them all the way back to the original line of scrimmage, right around the 10-yard line, and should make it second and a long 9. We'll call it 10, and it was Isaac McKinley, the junior wide receiver, a little anxious. You know, for coaches, Coach Martin has to be, if you're a wide receiver, just watch the ball.
Just watch the ball. And you certainly don't want to do it on your own sideline in front of the coaching staff.
Out of the pistol, second and 10 for Pine River. Able to avoid one would-be tackler, and he's losing ground and going to be dropped just outside the end zone on the tackle, Owen Bonico. And that ball was called down, so there is no fumble.
Now, there's a flag on the play here.
And flag back.
Thrown pretty late behind the play.
It's right around the 3-yard line.
I'm going to guess that's maybe a hold against Pine River.
And it's very well if it is going to be a hold on Pine River. Good call, partner. They are going to decline that, as
you'd expect from Coach Maloney and the Ramblers right there. Take the loss on the end the play.
Nelson almost retreated back into his own end zone. Luckily, goes down before the ball pops loose, and he was tackled outside of his own end zone. But it's still third and dangerous from his own 2-yard line. It's 3rd and 18 for Pine River.
You know, after a first down where they got solid yardage, Pine River's gone backwards on a couple of consecutive plays here.
And working out of the pistol is Rogan Nelson. And the give goes to the tailback, Brock Nelson, and he does what he can just to make sure that he stays out of his own end zone. Little to no gain. That's going to bring up 4th and long.
Safe call right there. You know, you don't want to do anything that's really going to hurt you. I believe they're probably hoping for a couple of yards to give them a little more room to make this punt. Lane Rupert back there to kick for Pine River here.
Yeah, we see Lane Rupert. He's standing uncomfortably close to that back line. Got to always keep an eye on the long snap. Back to receive, Caden McGillis for the McBain Ramblers. Just under the 6-minute mark remaining in the opening quarter.
Late run on for Pine River here. We'll see if that hurts them.
There's going to be a penalty. In fact, this one's going to be blown dead, as
Pine River only had 10 players out on the field.
That's correct. A little bit of confusion for the special teams unit. The only thing that is a positive when you have a penalty at the 2-yard line, there's not much yardage to give up.
And that might be a little bit of Pine River being without Marcus Jurek. His back injury kind of developed yesterday. So, they're filling in all his spots throughout the game. But
it can mess with the rotation, substitution, packages. Yeah, it can take a little bit to get used to. We'll redo it here on 4th down. And that's Rupert who handles the snap, and this one's a high punt. And it's going to go right in front of McGillis. McGillis touches it. That's a live ball, thankfully, and that is dangerous. Coach Maloney cannot be happy with Caden McGillis. A risky decision to try to field that punt.
You see those kinds of things a lot, I think, with high school kids. They're young guys. They're going to make decisions that, as a coach, kind of drive you nuts. You love them 1 minute, the next minute you're kind of frustrated with them. But that happens, and it certainly does happen at the highest levels too.
And Cade McGillis, certainly when you're back there and you have that opportunity to get your hands on the ball and want to make a play for your team, it's tempting, but luckily it does not cost the Ramblers. They've got a 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line to start their second possession of this game, and it's Gavin Seelan around the left side. He slips a tackle and dragged out of bounds by Lane Rupert. That's going to be just past the sticks, and that's a 1st down for the Ramblers.
So this is the second possession for McBain's offense, and they've had prime real estate here in the field position game, getting both drives started in Pine River territory.
Gain of 15. That's going to advance the ball to the 25-yard line just at the 5-minute and 30-second mark. Remaining in this first quarter on the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. Working out of the T formation. That's Brown. He gives to Rodenbaugh up the middle. This time the Bucs defense rallies to the ball. That's Damian Koffel.
Yep, Damian, number 54 right there on that tackle. He's a junior.
You know a lot of these young men,
You know what?
don't you?
I teach 6th grade down in Pine River, so many years ago I had almost all those kids in class. So it's fun to see them, grow up and become the fine young men that they have become. And certainly the size difference between a 6th grader and a high school student is quite different.
I'm waiting to hear some of these good stories for the Pine River team, but we've got 2nd and 9. Give goes to Gavin Seelan, and that one's blown up in the backfield by Thomas Hooker, the senior.
Nice tackle right there, and again, just a great wrap-up. You can see that a lot of the early season drill work put in by the Bucks and Coach Martin and the rest of the coaching staff's paying off, as we've seen some pretty picturesque tackles.
Gavin Seelan's not an easy one to bring down. That's a loss of 1. Going to bring up 3rd and 10 for the Ramblers. Brown, he's got a man open. He decides to drop it off, and it's hauled in by Seelan. He's got the first down at the 10-yard line. Great catch there. He's getting a lot of help from his wide receivers.
Yeah, and Ian Robertson knocked him out of bounds, but certainly not after a first down plus. They are down to right around the 10-yard line.
It looked for a second that he did have a big man running and rumbling down the field. That was big old number 18. I don't have him on my roster for the McBain Ramblers, but he was wide open behind the entire defense. But 1st and 10 at the 10-yard line for McBain. Seelan on the carry. Puts his shoulder down, and he's going to be dragged down by number 76. That's Zach Lemon, the junior, on the stop. And you see what McBain has gone to on a couple of occasions out of that T formation, just that reverse pivot and give it to their playmaker on a left-sided sweep.
Yeah, they're running left on the outside there. Ethan Barton is doing a nice job for McBain, holding and closing in that end.
Trying to run behind the left tackle, Drew Vanna. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. And it's Seelan again, left side. And the Bucks defense stands strong to keep him outside of the 5-yard line. That's number 54, Damian Koffel, the junior, with his 2nd tackle on this drive. And that's going to bring up 3rd and 6.
It's going to be 3rd down and 6.
Still 0-0 on this Michigan high school football game of the week in the Highland Conference between the Bucks and the Ramblers. 3rd and 6. Brown on the quarterback keeper. Cuts it upfield, but the Bucks defense rallying to the football. They stack them up. No gain on the play, and it's going to bring up 4th and 6.
It's going to be 4th down and 5 for McBain.
Great job by the Pine River Bucks. Able to string that play out. George Brown III trying to cut it upfield, but ran into a wall of white jerseys, and that's going to be a timeout from head coach Pat Maloney. And we want to go ahead and take some time to thank some of our sponsors.
How about our presenting sponsors tonight? Munson Healthcare and Cadillac Hospital, Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Sponsoring also tonight, Fox Motors of Cadillac, LC Materials, Doug Glass of Cadillac, Builder's First Source in Cadillac, Tasty Treat in Lake City, Best Demolition, Pancho Villa Mexican Grill in Lake City Family Pharmacy and McBain Family Pharmacy, Bowman and Rogers in Lake City, McBain Building Products, Ron D's Tavern and Grocery, Travelers Bar and Grill, Cadillac Tire, and last but not least, Pizza Plus.
Oh, I had some Pizza Plus earlier today. They are certainly not last. not in my book anyway, but thank you so much to our sponsors and allowing us to call this Michigan high school football game of the week. And we got another 4th down deep in Pine River territory for this Ramblers offense, and it's George Brown III working out of the shotgun. Brown. He wants it all. There's a push off by Ethan Barton. He can't haul it in regardless. Pass falls incomplete. And on 2 consecutive possessions, the Ramblers come up empty inside the 10-yard line.
You know, the Bucks defense back to the wall, 2 possessions in a row, like you mentioned. They came up big both times. But they are certainly starting from the short end of the field. They got a long way to go here. We're going to mention our camera folks out there tonight, braving the chilly night air here. We've got Cole Cedarburn. We've got and Damian Brooks on our 2 cameramen out there tonight.
Shorthand crew, but they're doing a fantastic job for us, as it is Pine River with a 1st and 10. It's Rogan Nelson working out of the pistol. And we'll see his first throw of the night, and that goes right through the hands of Isaac McKinley. That one on target, just unable to haul it in, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
You can see Rogan's got a pretty solid arm. That ball got onto Isaac pretty quickly. That's definitely one he wants back.
On the year, Rogan Nelson, 162 yards passing, 2 touchdown passes through the air. They are working without their leading wide receiver in this one, so it's perhaps Isaac McKinley will get another opportunity to step up later in this game. 2nd and 10 on the way for the Bucks. And the handoff goes to Brock Nelson up the middle on the Ramblers defense. Stacks him up just shy of the 10-yard line. It will be a gain of 4. It looks like Ethan Barton on the stop for the Ramblers on bringing up 3rd down.
Again, I think with Pine River, pretty limited and right now on what they're going to call offensively because they are so backed up and have been most of this first quarter.
And they're keeping their head above water. The defense standing strong when they needed it most. 3rd and 6 from the 9-yard line. Nelson, he'll throw it. That one, nearly intercepted. That's Dan Rodenbaugh, who read that one like a book.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who was going to get to that one first, Lane Nelson or Rodenbaugh. And that'll bring up another punt for Pine River.
And we saw Rodenbaugh.
Lane Rupert, excuse me.
We saw Rodenbaugh come up with an interception 2 weeks ago on the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week against the Lake City Trojans, and that will bring on Rupert for the 2nd time tonight, or the 3rd time tonight, or no, 2nd, because they fumbled on the first possession. Rupert, that one nearly blocked. He got it off, and it's going to be Gavin Seelan who receives it at the 35-yard line. Seelan's got some running room, trying to direct traffic, and loses his footing. Lane Rupert, the one who punted it, able to run down and track down Seelan before he does any more damage, but it's still good field position for the Ramblers with 1:36 remaining in the opening quarter.
Well, I tell you what, McBain, if they don't put anything on the board here with this possession, they're going to be mighty upset. 3rd possession here, all inside the Pine River 30-yard line. The first 2 coming away with no points. We'll see how this possession goes.
First one via a fumble on the first offensive snap for Pine River. Then, after a failed 4th down conversion inside the 10-yard line, it was a punt. They got right back down there, got stopped again. So here is the McBain offense working out of the T formation. 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. And it's George Brown, the 3rd, playing tailback with a new quarterback under center, Deacon Dode. And that one is going to be just brought down at the line of scrimmage and bring up 2nd and 10.
Number 25, Gavin Cornett with that tackle right there.
Check that, it's Deacon Dottie.
Yeah, good catch on Dottie there.
As we got 2nd and 10 for the Ramblers. It's going to be George Brown the 3rd yet again, and a shoestring tackle by Sasha Huffman. And it looks like this Bucks defense, they're shooting some of the gaps on these little sweeps that they're trying to get 2 lead blockers around the edges. Good job so far by the Pine River defense.
And a good job of schemes by the Pine River coaching staff. They know man-to-man they can't match up the size of McBain, so they got some linebackers shooting some gaps on different things, getting the right reads and making some nice plays.
We've got Deacon Dottie working out of the shotgun on 3rd and 9. And that's Brown the 3rd in motion. Dottie letting it rip, and it would have been intercepted, but the
false start. Yep.
It's going to be a false start on the Ramblers. That'll back them up 5, make it 3rd and 14. Clearly, they're not going to be shy about letting the young quarterback let it rip.
You know, just to my right up here in the booth, I have the Pine River JV coaches, and they're in communication like the McBain coaches are up here with the coaches on the sideline, and they kind of had that play snuffed out before it happened. I could hear them conversing to head coach Martin to tell a couple of guys to back up, and they were right in position to make that play, even though the play never did happen.
George Brown the 3rd back under center on 3rd and 14. He's going to tuck it down and run, and tackled ganging up on the tackle are the two Nelsons, Brock Nelson and Rogan Nelson. He's going to be well shy of the first down marker, and another fourth and sizable for the Ramblers, as that'll bring us to a close here at the first quarter of action on the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week on 26 Sports and CCTV. The Pine River Bucks and the McBain Ramblers knotted up at 0. Who will score first? We'll find out. We'll be right back.